How's it going, Critter Family? Hope you all are doing well. Today we're going over a video by Zak George. It's been a little while. Just happened to see this in passing about his video that says, "No more pulling. Train any dog to own busy city walks like a boss." And I believe this is Walter, the Malinois German Shepherd mix, I believe, that he's been working with for a little while. So here we see him pulling on his harness. A lot of people are going to say this is why they don't like harnesses, because they think harnesses promote pulling. Pulling is a learned behavior, not not because of the harness. He'd be pulling on a regular collar, but, because Zak is safe, he has his dog on a harness. So we're just going to get right into it, see how Walter has progressed.
Walking your dog in a busy city environment is a completely different challenge than walking them in your local neighborhood. Here's the first thing to keep in mind.
This is the Dog Training Revolution. Click thumbs up and subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Whether it's curiosity or fear or excitement, distractions bring out emotions. We've come to the city here in kind of an off time because we wanted to reduce the odds that we would flood him with too much stimulation. There's so
Very
much
good.
for your dog.
Excellent. So that's really important to come to an area where, and he's doing fine. He's doing perfectly fine on his little leash there. Very important to take your dog to an area where they're going to be, where it's less stimulating for them. So they're not, flooding is a psychology term, which means, to overstimulate your animal or person, to overstimulate someone so much that they have a very negative response to that. They have an adverse response to that. So if you are, if say these gentlemen or these people here are afraid of dogs, and he were to just walk up to them and let this dog jump up on them and lick them and all over that, and they're terrified of dogs, that would be a moment of flooding. If you were to let your dog run up, or you just force your dog upon them, and let them lick their face and or bark at them, or get in their face and start wrestling with them, and whatever it may be, that would be a moment of flooding for the people if they were afraid of dogs. So I always talk about a client, or I often talk about a client I had that I would tell them, I've actually had several clients that did this, but one in particular, comes to mind. I would tell them, okay, if we're going to go to desensitize your dog in the car, because this dog would bark and lunge, and this dog is on my channel. If this dog would bark and lunge and go through the window, because they were so reactive to cars and motorcycles and people and everything. And that's a lot of dogs out there. So I would take this dog, and I have a video of me parking behind a CVS with this dog, and we would just sit there and quietly, I would sit there and wait for them to be quiet. I would mark and reward every time a person walked by as the person was coming by. Then I would mark and reward for that. As the person walked past us, I would mark and reward for being calm. And as the person left, then I would mark and reward. Then over time, I only had to mark and reward as the person was walking in front of us for the dog being calm. The owner would then, the very next week, take the dog, because the dog only got worked once a week. The owner would take the dog the next week to the busiest part of town at the busiest time of day, and expect the dog to work fine. Well, that's why I'm no longer working with them, because they didn't listen to anything I was saying. It was totally counterproductive, because I had tried to tell them and beat it into them time and time and time again that you don't just go flooding your dog, but every single time this person would flood their dog and totally do the opposite of what I taught them and what I was trying to teach them. That's why I took the dog by myself one time to record it, to show them the process and the progress their dog can make when their dog is not being flooded.
Process in the city. So our
Good
job
job.
is really to help our dogs navigate the emotions that those distractions bring out in them. He's noticing someone. Our overall goal in an outing like this is to allow them to see new things without overwhelming them.
Very good.
Which can be kind of tricky. Nobody knows your dog like you.
Excellent. So I love that he allows him to look at something. He's not constantly in his face trying to reward him, and he's also not, punishing him for not paying attention to him.
Anxious. You
You
can
notice
look
the
at
lip
their
lick?
general body language and tell if they seem to be excited, on edge. There's a yawn. The ears are kind of down. There's another lip lick.
All those are signs of anxiety. So I probably would have marked and rewarded there. But if he's just doing this just for, to allow the dog to habituate to the situation, then that's fine too.
Is to decrease our dog's stress and not add to it. So in moments like this, the last
Very
thing
good.
you want
Very important to me that he's not asking the dog for anything. He's not asking the dog, and I like that he says ask, not tell. He's not telling or commanding the dog to sit. He's not commanding the dog to do anything. He just says, good job. The dog gives a little lip lick, pins his ears a little bit, not in a way of being aggressive, but he just kind
do
of,
when a truck
he's just a little bit nervous, and he's just saying, hey, did I do well?
drives by, for example, is give your dog a firm correction, especially when they're already anxious.
Person walks
Instead,
by.
just stay calm, show them there's nothing to
Yes,
worry about.
good job.
Really nice. Then he's taking the
And he's
treat,
gonna reward.
so I feel like we're in workable territory.
Very important to notice that the dog is taking treats, because when they aren't taking treats, Zach is aware that when they're not taking treats that they're overstimulated. They're over threshold if they don't want to take food. In this case, he is taking food, so he knows he's in a fairly workable state of mind.
They're not taking treats when you ask them to sit. That's often one of the first indicators you'll get that your dog might not be feeling completely comfortable. Let me see something.
Very important.
He's gotten really good at, ready? Catch it. Go for it too vigorously. You want this? Catch it. Good man.
Good. So he's still trying. He's testing him for little skills. He's testing him for little tricks to see his comfort level and see if he can work on this in this environment. So I think that's very good.
Good. And now look, you can see he's a little more bright-eyed. Ears are coming up. Yes. Good man. So this might be a good way to reward him, and it might also be a good indicator as to whether or not he's feeling nervous. Now he's starting to get a little peppy. Look at that tug right there. Remember, it's not just about what we can see. Sounds and smells are also things that your dog really notices. I can't overstate this. They're built different. I mean, he's noticing all this traffic. We got a bunch of it here. I'm looking at his ears. Just like
Very important. Be aware of your surroundings from your dog's perspective. Your dog is much shorter than you, much more sensitive than you, much smaller than you, especially for a small dog, especially for a puppy. If you have a puppy, a lot of times puppies want to lay down on a walk and they don't want to continue on a walk. And that's okay. That is normal, or that's at least very common. I don't know if it's necessarily normal. I mean, to me, I think that's normal because your puppy is small and it's a big world out there. It's a big world for people out there. So if I have a dog that doesn't want to go forward, then I say, okay, we'll just stand here and let you, investigate the world. And if you want to go back home, then we'll just slowly try to walk our way back home the best way we can, making sure that we're going nice and slow. We're not running back home. We're not running from our fears, but we're going to try to get away from our fears, and keep you as calm as we can. And next time we can plan for a different exercise to see if we can make sure the dog is more comfortable in the environment next time.
Loud noises can cause anxiety with dogs too.
He's walking very nicely.
Here. Do you want this? You can see he's like
so not as interested. Little lip lick.
He's not so into that frisbee right now as we have that group of cars pass all at one time. In a place like this, all of that can be really overwhelming for a dog. Come on, let's go. I mean,
Good
those
boy.
are the kind of things right there. A big tape measure was right in front of him. You just can't.
A little bit nervous, but not nervous enough to give a lip lick. He's just kind of looking around. He's keeping an eye out. If this tape were to go flinging back into the little compartment that it sits in, then that could have really spooked him. But that would be a real life scenario, and then you can walk by and give him a treat and walk past again and just kind of teach him, hey, things like this are going to happen, noises like this are going to happen, and it's not the end of the world.
Oh boy. Now this, can he walk on that? You cannot imagine the amount of
it smells like the end of the world.
that
Yeah,
is
it does.
pouring into your dog's nose. Come on, buddy, let's go. Every second.
So I probably would have sat there for a second more maybe and let him really smell it a little bit longer. I myself am afraid of walking over grates like this, so if my dog is, I don't blame them. But if he wants to smell, I would let him smell a little bit longer, and then I would just move on. But that's just me.
Yes, that was. See? He noticed that, and he did quite well. When Wallace checks in with me, I'm going to be quite liberal about giving him a treat. Yes, I got an automatic check-in, as if to say, I like that you're checking in with me. You're looking to see where the walk is headed. Those are all really encouraging signs.
When training is more exciting and engaging, it becomes much easier to teach your dog rock-solid habits. For obvious reasons. They're having fun along the way. This BarkBox promotes
Uncomfortable with something in the environment. Distance is your friend. Look for places where you can pull off, create distance like this, get them away from that in a
Absolutely.
way that de-escalates that emotion and makes it.
Excellent. So this is what I talk about a lot on my channel. When I'm talking about if your dog is nervous, then you want to make sure that you create distance from whatever it is that they're nervous about. If they're being reactive, then you want to make sure that you are trying to set them up for success the best way that you can. If they're reactive, just create distance. Whatever they're barking at, it could be a trash can, it could be a person, it could be a car, it could be you know, a buffalo, whatever it is. But just try your best to keep an eye out and keep an eye out for your environment in general to see moments that you can move away from something that might be coming up that might scare your dog. So you want to slow down a little bit. Something coming up behind you. Just keep an eye out. You don't have to be like, Superman and see things around the corner, or see through buildings or anything, where you don't have to be. I'm not telling you to be very nervous about something. I'm just saying, just be aware of your surroundings.
Feel more confident. And I'd recommend that you practice these exercises outside of heavy distractions. That's your cue that you'll need to do some exposure around those things and provide reassurance. And don't think you need to wait for your dog to have a big reaction before you create some distance. Look at this bear. Look, he noticed
This
it.
is
Wanna go check it out or not? I'll encourage.
this is a very good thing. This is a very cute bear, by the way, a very big fat bear. This is something that can be very helpful when working with your dog to teach them not to be reactive towards something. This can, you can use this as a great resource to teach your dog that, hey, this is something big and it's kind of scary. I'm sure it'd be scary to a child, or maybe a child would love to go run up and hug it. It depends on the child, and it depends on the dog. If a dog wants to go and play with it, or if a dog is a little bit more nervous like him.
Encourage him. I'll see if he wants to. Yes. We've also got
Good.
that music playing.
I'll mute this, I don't know, just in case while he's playing with the music. Cute bear. Letting Wallace choose how far to retreat, but I'll keep him out of the street, of course. Yeah, very good. So he gets a little bit nervous, so he's going to move back a little bit. There's some people walking by, so that could be what you call, there's a car driving by, so that could be what you would call possibly triggered stacking, where we have a big creature here that's scary. We have people walking up that can also be adding to it, and there's a car driving by, and there's loud music. So all of that could be trigger stacking. Each one could be a trigger on its own that might make Wallace a little bit nervous. Sorry, I called him Walter before. It's Wallace, I think. That makes this little guy a little bit nervous. So when you have all of those triggers together, we call that trigger stacking, which may set your dog over threshold, and then they start to react more, and you have to just increase distance or in order for them to go back into, okay, I'm calm, I'm able to focus on my person again, that sort of thing.
Man, let's go. You did really well there. Good experience, He went up, he checked it out at a distance he was comfortable with. A general rule is that if you do create that distance, you look for the point in space where they will take the treat. Here, you want this? And then that becomes an indicator that they're feeling a bit more confident. Good man, catch it. There it is. Yeah, get it, get it, get it. There we go. You can see he's a little more confident. Got some tug going. I love that. All right, let go, please. Thank you. We kind of take it for granted that our dogs will just adapt, but some will adapt quickly, others not so much.
Very nice loose
We
leash.
just have to get to know the individual dog. Periodically, I'll ask for attention around distractions.
Good.
Yes.
Very good.
I love
Excellent.
that. After all, I still want to
So
make
I like the fact that he gives the dog the choice. He gives the dog the opportunity to explore the world first, and then after a while, when he knows the dog has been, kind of habituated to the new environment, then he starts asking for little behavior, such as just something as simple as eye contact or a simple sit. Nothing too crazy, nothing like, like a heel or anything like, nothing that uses a lot of the dog's attention, and concentration.
sure that I can get his attention on me when I ask. The way we get this is by making sure we express our appreciation to our dogs frequently for their good behavior. We have a pedestrian coming up here, so I'm going to try and keep him on my right, especially in a place like this where I may have to
Dog
make a
sat,
sudden
somebody
decision
walks
to
by.
move quickly for one reason or another. And so
Happens to be going in that building.
You can't control public variables, so and that's what I'm talking about. You'll need those quick response times in situations like that. Good man.
Very
He
good.
really followed.
So he was respectful of the person. He had him in a sit and asked for his eye contact, which is probably what I would have done as well. As you have somebody walking by, that you don't necessarily have to put them in a sit, but in some cases that is helpful for them because it helps them feel a little bit more controlled. You feel a little bit more in control with your dog in a sit versus a dog standing who wants to go maybe sniff the person, may bark at the person, may try to nip at the person. I don't think this little guy would do any of that, but
My direction there.
but
That
who
was
knows?
nice. Hey, how's it going? If your dog is having a tough time, asking your dog to sit as distractions pass by can
Good,
really help
excellent.
too. For some dogs,
Good. So it looked like he went and sat on his own because that is a practice behavior. And Zach didn't have to shock him or jerk on him or pop him or use any of this other nonsense that all these other trainers use to get the dog's attention. He actually he's working on dog time. That's what I love about him, and I love how he works with dogs.
that might be easier than having to walk past a distraction or be in motion
Very good.
at close range to a distraction.
So I would have
Yes,
allowed him
good
to
man.
look
That
at the
was-
people. He wanted to make sure that the dog didn't get too nervous, but I would allow him to look at the people going by. And then I would ask for his eye contact once they get far enough away. When I feel like maybe he needs to get that out of his system so he can look at me. And there's other times when you want to ask for his attention while they're walking by, and maybe that's the stage that they are in.
An awkward way to ask him to sit. Look how narrow this sidewalk is. I don't want to wait till I have to teach a heel in this environment, so I might practice reminding him. There we go. Yes, there was a nice check-in. Real life, leave it. Let's see if it works. Wallace. Yes.
Good boy.
So I called his name to get
Very
his attention
good.
there. Has the
That was
effect
excellent.
of a leave it. Well done, sir.
So I probably would have rewarded sooner than that, but that's just me. I mean, I'm not saying that his reward now is not going to be valid for Wallace here, but I probably would have rewarded right away after that.
Yes. Working on speed. I'm just using the word easy as I catch him really dialed into me and adjusting his speed to me. Good man.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Excellent.
You're a rock star. We had that really loud motorcycle, and he just did wonderful. And he's starting to really learn to default to that right side.
He still gives
I
a couple
really
of
like
lip licks,
that.
and that could be because he just had a treat or just because he's relieving a little bit of anxiety.
Yes. Catch it. And his emotional state is exactly what we're going for here. Curious. checking
He
his
is a cutie
environment out,
pie.
Responsive when we ask him to listen to us.
But I feel he'd be way too much dog for me. I could never handle any kind of Malinois or Shepherd mix. Well, maybe a Shepherd mix, but not a Malinois mix. I think that would just be way too much for me, way too much for my lifestyle. That's why I like, I like Spitz breeds anyway. But he's a super cute dog, and I hope he finds a wonderful home if he hasn't
your dog
already.
is doing well in a neighborhood setting with moderate distractions, consider upgrading the distraction level of the environment to ensure that your dog gets experience listening to you in a variety of places. Thumbs up
Agreed.
for-
When your dog is doing well in something, then try practicing, in challenging them a little bit, but not so much to where if you try to challenge them when they're not ready, or you challenge them in an environment that is just too much for them, then this is going to set them up for failure. You want to set them up for success. So if they're doing well in your neighborhood environment, and then you go and take them to a city right away, you want to start really slow. Just start little bits at the corners. Maybe go sit down, do some screensaver training, as they call it. And maybe just do a little bit of walking up and down. But don't expect to go inside bars or inside of stores or anything like that. Don't expect your dog to be perfect, because you are practicing in a new environment. And it's going to take time for your dog to learn this new environment, just like it took time for them to learn your environment at home. So that was it for this video. Good job, Zach. Good job, Wallace. Super cute little dog. I like the way that he worked with this dog, and took his time, and he worked on the dog at dog time. He worked on dog time. He didn't work on human time, where he has like Miracle Canine training or anything like that, where they have a shot collar on every stinking dog, and they just make dogs yelp and all this other nonsense. Nothing here but a nice good old harness and a Frisbee and some treats. So good job. Very nice. Let me know what you think of this video. Go say hi to your little critters. Say hi to do for me. Give them some kind of love and they appreciate. And until next time, practice peace, patience, and positivity.